Alright, welcome back. Hope everyone's having a lovely day, a lovely night wherever you're from. And real quick, before we get started, as always, I want to give a lovely shout out to the channel members on this channel. So thank you so much to these lovely commanders here that you see on screen. Thank you guys so much for your guys' constant generosity and support to me as always. It really means a lot to me, so thank you guys so much. And if you guys are actually interested in becoming a lovely commander yourself, if you are interested in any of these cute and lovely emotes, the loyalty crown badges, you want a special role in the Discord, make sure to join the Discord. But as always, if you choose to do so, thank you so much. Just remember, that's not the only way that you can support me. Just watching the content like you are right now, it's truly the best way. Liking, subscribing, and commenting, everything really does help, so thank you guys so much. And for today's video, with everything going on right now, I know you can see some gameplay that I recorded in the background for Chaos Air Nightmare, but if you guys remember, after the playtest happened, they did want to start addressing a few things in regards to everything going on, business models and all that, and honestly, I said to keep your expectations in check. I do want to talk about it. As always, there's going to be timestamps for wherever you want to go down below. I'm just going to address the key points that interested me and the ones that I really want to give my own, critique on. And once again, this is not a sponsored video this time. I'm not being paid to say anything. And obviously, I'm going to be critical with some things because as much as I did like this commentary video, I still have some concerns and questions because it felt kind of vague. So as always, let me scoot on over and let's get started and let's start yapping a little bit. Because first things first, let's talk about the main reason we watch the video, right? Let's talk about the gacha. First things first that I want to address is that the 50-50 is still alive and well. The 50-50 with the pity is still going to be here. And in my opinion, to no one's surprise, by the way, I know there was some people that were trying to cope and say maybe they change it, but as of right now, it's the gold industry standard for the businesses themselves. I'm not saying I want to see the 50-50, please don't get it twisted. I would love to see it changed, but realistically, it's hard to see businesses wanting to move away from it when you see successful games, especially coming from Hoyo and Wuwa, getting a piece of that gold right there, and that's what they want to see. So I'm not surprised that the game is going this way as well. I understand that there are some games right now that are trying to move away from gacha or changing the model entirely, but those could be like a Nada and then DNA, but those are two exceptions in a large industry pool right now. So as great as those are just huge outliers. So I'm not surprised that they're maintaining this. However, there is some good news is that with the rate up pickup characters that you can get, they have confirmed that they are not going to be limited. So what this means is that they are going to be added to the normal pool afterwards. However, the only characters that are going to be truly limited, unless there are reruns, are going to be the seasonal units and the collab as well. Same for the partners associated with those, which is good. That's a huge step in the right direction because that means a lot of people don't really have to worry about trying to pull for everything, knowing that they will be eventually added to the standard pool so they can get or be spooked by from the 50-50 if they lose it as well. And to continue this discussion regarding the partners, they actually changed this. So now you're going to be able to buy partners from the shop once a month for all the pickup partners, which will massively reduce the need to roll for these partners. But the caveat that makes me worried about this is that the fact that it's going to be there makes me worried that some of the characters are going to make them mandatory. So I'm really hoping they don't go that route. The same thing can also be said in regards to the dupe system because it is getting adjusted because during the limited time playtest, it did feel like dupes were pretty strong, especially with missing out on core skills. So hopefully they do reflect that back into the adjusted dupes. So we'll have to see for that. But also, you'll be able to use mileage to buy 2 dupes per combatant, which is like the actual character that you can pull for. And that's kind of like Wuwa, where afterwards, after the banner ends, you will be able to pull for 2 more dupes, which I think is okay because same thing for seasonal content, they are going to be having dupe materials. And they stated this, which I have some question marks on, okay? They said at least 200 pulls will be available when you finish the early game when CZN finally release. And that kind of worries me because the idea is that they want to promise to give out generous rewards so the players won't feel too pressured when playing. But here's the thing with that, right? Like, there is good and bad with this whole gacha discussion because as great as it is, with having some dupes being in the shop, same thing with partners being able to buy them, are they going to make them more essential? Are they going to start making an idea that you need at least 1 or 2 dupes to make these characters great, to incentivize getting those dupes as well? That's going to be a problem. And since we have seasonal characters and collabs, collabs are one thing. But how many seasonal characters are we going to be getting? Are we going to get Christmas and summer units, and how many are we going to get? And how strong are they going to be? That's going to be something that we're going to have to figure out, because right now, we don't know how it's going to play. It all sounds great, but how is it going to actually turn out when the game comes out? That's the biggest factor, and we don't know yet. That's all up in the arms, and we'll have to see. I think one thing that I'm also worried about that they addressed in this was the whole 200 pulls thing, because if that's 200 pulls that you get from clearing everything for the game at the start, that's pretty underwhelming. However, if those are just that alone, on top of whatever freebies that we get for the launch, then that's great. But once again, it was vague, so I don't know. So those are some question marks that I have. Because once again, if you guys remembered, if you watched my honest impressions, the income was a big problem. And that's something that didn't really get addressed in this, which worries me, because the income that you got was completely garbage. I did notice in the playtest there was a lot of things that were locked out, so I'm hoping that that's also a reason for it. So we will have to see. I'll give better impressions when the game comes out, obviously. And then to move on, they did talk about the story a little bit, because weirdly enough, like, there was a huge critique from KR apparently about this. And they did state that they wanted the early story to just be more open for all audiences, which makes sense. And they say later on, they do want to iron it out more, as well as try to get more into that darker, grim kind of storytelling. But it makes sense that they wanted to start that way to try to reach more people. So to me, it makes sense as well. And then when they wanted to address art, they said that with animations for characters, there will be more animations, especially with their non-chibi model. So I think that's great, just because that's just more art, that's more animations, and I really love to see it, because this game is very flashy in the best way possible. And then card art is also going to be improved to add more personality to the characters, so that's cool. I actually think that's going to be a nice touch, just to differentiate them. And then when we're talking about combat, one thing that I do want to address that I liked, that also had problems because it felt really punishing, was the trauma system. The trauma system itself, the idea is great. The execution was a 50-50. Great idea, but damn, was it really rough when you were in the chaos manifestation. And they did state with the trauma system that they want it to be even deeper, that they want characters to act out differently, act out of control, which I think it's cool. They want to add more interactions and refine the trauma system more. I see some people complaining about it because the trauma system sucked, but I like the idea that they improve it and want to expand on it more, because that's also one of the biggest features for this game was the trauma system. I think it's a great idea, and this is coming from someone who played the playtest and experienced the manifestations with the actual traumas, and I thought that was cool. I personally like it, but to me, I want to see more interactions, and I think that's just awesome. Not only this, but they are going to be rebalancing a lot of the cards, and then adding more modes that they stated. We're also going to have roguelike modes with more RNG. So I think that's cool. So it's not just going to be the chaos manifestation. But here's the thing that they didn't address, despite the text garbage. They did address that they're going to be improving that and then fixing localization so it's actually more consistent. But they didn't state anything about a sweep. Gonna have me crash out. 2025 no sweep, Smilegate. Please fix the sweep. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Come on. That's what we're here for. I want to farm the roguelike modes. I do not want to farm gacha fodder that's everywhere. Please, just add the sweep function. It's not hard. For me personally, I think overall with this whole dev commentary, I'm excited. For me, I'm personally not surprised with how they address the gacha and everything. I'm going to be 100% honest. As much as I want to see a change, that's why I stated that I'm not going to be surprised. I'm keeping my expectations in check for a reason. Now, that being said, with what they did address has me interested, but at the same time, it was kind of vague. So kind of leaves me questioning, a little worried, but I am very much looking forward to launch. Do let me know what your guys' thoughts are right now. I know Trick Owl right now is also coming out as well, coming up this week. Really excited for that. Do let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Are you going to be playing it on release at all? Are you going to try CZN? Let me know. As always, that is going to be it from me. So I hope you guys have a lovely day, lovely night wherever you're from. And as always, thank you so much for the constant support. Take care and have a good one.